For the assessment portion, particularly the ICF assessment sheet, for the patient's perspective as to patient's mother, for the body function structures, child achieved certain milestones at a later date, child sustained cuts and bruises from falls, for the activity, child cannot walk properly on its own, and child can experience frequent falls. Lastly, for the participation, child wants to play with her siblings without complications, and child wants to make friends. For the health professional perspective, first we have here for the body function structures, it's B117, intellectual functions, B144, memory functions, B1471, quality of psychomotor functions, B156, perceptual functions, B2100, visual acuity functions, B2152, functions of external muscles of the eye, B230, hearing functions, B2351, vestibular functions of balance, B335, producing nonverbal messages, B7101, mobility of several joints, B7300, power of isolated muscles and muscle groups. B7354, tone of muscles of all limbs. B750, motor reflex functions. B7600, control of simple voluntary movements. B7602, coordination of voluntary movements. And B770, gait pattern functions. Next, for the activity, we have here D100, undertaking a simple task. D410, basic changing basic body positions. B4152, maintaining a kneeling position. B4153, maintaining a sitting position. B4154, maintaining a standing position. B201, maintaining a standing, in this case, a sitting position. B4201, transferring oneself while lying. B440, fine hand use. B5400, walking short distances. B510, washing oneself. B5201, caring for teeth. B530, toileting. D540, dressing. D550, eating. And E201, assistive products or technology for personal indoor. For participation, we have here code E320 for friends, D3150 for communicating with receiving body gestures, D360 using communication devices and techniques, D760 family relationships, D9100 informal associations, and D9200 for play. For environmental factors, we have here code E1101 drugs, E310 support from immediate family in therapy sessions, E410 individual attitude of immediate family members. For personal factors, we have here loves to play with siblings, eager to make friends, wants to be independent, and wants to walk properly.
So for the ICF categorical profile, the global goal is to be able to walk and play without difficulty. It's graded 0. Service program goal is to achieve developmental milestones at a specific age, is also graded 0. For cycle goal 1, which is D1551, acquiring skills, is graded as 1. Cycle goal 2, which is D177, making decisions, graded as 1. Cycle goal 3, which is D3504, conversing with many people, is graded as 0. So for the ICF qualifier, start off with B117, which is intellectual functions. It was graded as 3, goal value was 1. B144, memory function, graded as 1, goal was 0. B471, quality of psychomotor functions, graded as 4, goal was 1. B156, perceptual functions, graded as 4, goal was 1. B2100, visual acuity functions, graded as 2, goal was 0. B2152, functions of external muscles of the eye, graded as 2, goal was 0. B230, hearing functions, graded as 2, goal was 0. B2351, vestibular function of balance, graded as 4, goal was 1. D335, producing nonverbal messages, graded as 2, goal was 0. B7101, mobility of several joints, graded as 1, goal was 0. B7300, power of isolated muscles and muscle groups, graded as 3, goal was 1. B7354, tone of muscles and of all limbs, graded as 4, goal was 0. B750, motor reflex functions, graded as 4, goal was 0. B7600, control of simple voluntary movements, graded as 3, goal was 0. B7602, coordination of voluntary movements, graded as 3, goal was 1. B770, gait pattern functions, graded as 4, goal was 1. D2100, undertaking a simple task, graded as 3, goal was 0. D3150, communicating with receiving body gestures, goal was graded as 2, goal was 1. D360, using communication devices and techniques, graded as 1, goal was 0. D410, changing basic body position, graded as 2, goal was 0. D4152, maintaining a kneeling position, graded as 2, goal was 0. D415 I4153, maintaining a sitting position, graded as 2, goal was 0. D4154, maintaining a standing position, graded as 2, goal was 0. D4201, transferring oneself while lying, graded as 2, goal was 0. D440, find hand use, graded as 4, goal was 1. D4500, walking short distances, graded as 3, goal was 1. D510, washing oneself, graded as 3, goal was 0. D5201, caring for teeth, graded as 3, goal was 0. D530, toileting, graded as 3, goal was 0. D540, dressing, graded as 3, goal was 0. D550, eating, graded as 1, goal was 0. D760, family relationships, graded as 0, goal was 0. D9100, informal associations, graded as 3, goal was 1. D9200, which is play, graded as 4, goal was 0. So for external factors, drugs, this is E1101, it's graded as 0, goal was 4 plus. E3010, support from immediate family in therapy sessions, graded as 0, goal was 4 plus. E410, individual attitude of immediate family member, graded as 0, goal was 4. So for influence, the acceptance of disease is positive, the knowledge about the disease is also positive, and the independence of the patient is positive. The goal was positive for all of that, so it's all positive. So that's all for the ICF categorical profiles.
For the ICF intervention table, we have body functions and structures, and the first intervention target, we have B117, which is intellectual functions. For cranial nerve testing intervention, the first value is 2, goal is 1, end value is 1. For B144, we have memory function for cranial nerve testing. We have first value of 2, goal of 0, end of 0. Then we also have B1471, quality of psychomotor functions for cranial nerve testing as well. We also have first value of 2, goal of 1, and end of 1. We also have perceptual functions for cranial nerve testing. We have first value of 2, goal of 1, end of 1. Then we also have B2100 for visual acuity functions for cranial nerve testing. We have first value of 2, goal value of 0, end value of 0. We also have B2152 for functions of external muscle of the eye. For cranial nerve testing, for the first value is 2, goal value of 0, end value of 0. Then we also have B230 for hearing functions for the cranial nerve testing. We have first value of 2, goal of 0, end of 0. Then we also have B2351 for vestibular function of balance. For balance exercises, coordination exercises, gaze stabilization exercises. For first value would be 3, goal value is 1, end value is 1. Then we also have D335 for producing nonverbal messages. The intervention for this one is sign language, therapy, and training. The first value is 2, goal value is 0, and the end value is 0. Then we also have activities and participation. For the intervention target for this one, we have B7101 for mobility of several joints. We could have passive and active assistive range of motion exercises for affected joints, 10 reps times 3 sets to increase joint mobility. So the first value is 3 and the rest is 0. We also have B7300 for the power of isolated muscles and muscle groups. We conduct targeted strengthening exercises for hip extensors and flexors, knee extensors and flexors, and ankle, plantar flexors, and dorsiflexors with a goal value of 0. Then we also have B7354 for tone of muscles of all the limbs. We conduct with gentle passive stretching for bilateral lower extremity 30 seconds hold times 3 sets to increase flexibility and reduce spasticity. We also have tendinous pressure with ARM exercises for bilateral lower extremity for 12 reps and 3 sets to decrease muscle tone and improve movement. So we have a first value of 3 and the goal value of 1 and the end value is 0 for this one. Then we also have B750 motor reflex function, which we conduct inhibition techniques like prolonged stretch or weight bearing 3 to 5 minutes. in the position and times 3 positions to decrease hyperreflexia. So the first value for this one is 3, the goal value is 1, and the end value is 1 as well. Then we also have the 7600 control of simple voluntary movements for coordination exercises. Then we have a first value of 3 and the rest is 0. Then we also have the 7602 for coordination of voluntary movements for coordination exercises as well. The first value is 3, the goal value is 1, and the end value is 0. Then we have the 770 for gait pattern functions for ambulation training for the first value of 2 and the rest is 0. Then we also have D2-100 for undertaking a simple task for functional training. We have a first value of 2 and the rest is 0 as well. Then we also have D3-150 for communicating with receiving body gestures for speech therapy. We have a first value of 2 and the rest is 0. Then we also have D360 using communication devices and techniques. So we incorporate speech therapy, sign language training, the first value is 2 and the rest is 0. Then we also have D410, which is changing basic body position, individualized body position training, postural control exercises with the first value of 2 and the rest is 0. Then we also have D4152, maintaining a kneeling position, individualized body position training, postural control exercises for the first value of 3 and the rest is 0. Then we also have D4201 for transferring oneself while lying. So this is for transfer training, functional mobility exercises with the first value of 2, the goal value of 1, and the end value of 0. Then we also have D440 for fine hand use, functional activities involving the hand. The first value is 2, the goal value is 1, and the end value is 1. Then we also have D4500 for walking short distances for gait training, lower extremity strengthening, posture correction with the first value of 1 and the rest is 0. We also have D510 for washing oneself, adaptive feeding techniques, equipment recommendations with the first value of 2 and the rest is 0. We also have D5201 caring for teas, self-care strategies, adaptive devices with the first value of 2 and the rest is 0. We also have D530 for toileting, environmental modifications, adaptive devices with the first value of 2 and the rest is 0. We also have D540 for dressing, adaptive dressing techniques, equipment recommendations for first value of 2 and the rest is 0. We also have D550 for eating, adaptive feeding techniques, equipment recommendations with the first value of 1 and the rest is 0. We also have D760 for family relationships, family education, support, and counseling. We have a first value of 2 and a goal value of 1 and the end value of 0. We have D9-100 for informal associations for play therapy with other children with a first value of 3 and the rest is 0. We also have D9-200 for therapeutic play activities with the first value of 3 and the rest is 0. Then we also have environmental factors. For this one, we have E1101 for drugs for patient education with the first value of 4, goal value of 4, and the end value of 1. We also have E310 for support from immediate family and therapy sessions under patient education as well. We also have first value of 4, goal value of 3, and end value of 1. We also have E410 for individual attitude of immediate family member in family therapy with the first value of 4, second value of 3, and the end value 2. Then we also have personal factors, and the first would be acceptance of the disease management program, patient education, psychotherapy, and providing support with a grade of 2 for first value and 0 for goal and 1 for end value. For personal factors affecting the knowledge for patient education, we have first value of 2, goal value of 0, and end value of 1. For personal factors affecting independence, such as personal care planning, promote patient independence, address barriers, empower self-management, and provide support and safety, we have first value of 2, the goal value of 0, and the end value of 1.
For the ICF evaluation display, or for the re-eval after 25 weeks post-diagnosis, the global goal, which is able to play and walk without difficulty after 50 PTR sessions, is achieved. And for the service program goal, which is achieve developmental milestones of specific age after 50 PTR sessions, was also achieved. For cycle goal 1, or the D1551 acquiring skills, cycle goal 2, D177, making decisions, and cycle goal 3, which is D3540 or conversing with many people, was also achieved. For B117 intellectual functions, B144 memory function, and B1471 quality of psychomotor function, goal is achieved. For B2100 visual acuity functions, goal is achieved as to global goal. And for B2152 functions of external muscles, B230 hearing functions is achieved or goal is achieved. B2351 vestibular function of balance is also achieved as to global goal and service program goal. For B335 producing nonverbal messages is achieved or goal is achieved. For B7101 mobility of several joints, B7300 power of isolated muscles and muscle groups, B7354 tone of muscles of all limbs, B750 motor reflex functions, B7600 control of simple voluntary movements, B7602 coordination of voluntary movements, B770 gait pattern functions was or goal is achieved for all of these codes. Next, for the D2100 and undertaking a simple task, D3150 communicating with receiving body gestures, D360 using communication devices and techniques, D410 changing basic body position, D4152 maintaining a kneeling position, D4153 maintaining a sitting position, D4154 maintaining a standing position. Goal is achieved for these codes. Next, for the D4201 transferring oneself while lying, the D440 fine hand use, D4500 walking short distances, D510 washing oneself, D520 caring for teeth, D530 toileting, D540 dressing, D550 eating, D760 family relationships, D9100 informal associations, and D9200 goal is achieved in these following codes. Lastly, for the environmental goal, E1101 drugs, E310 support from immediate family and therapy sessions, and E410 individual attitude of immediate family members with a goal value of 4+, goal is achieved. For the personal factors, acceptance of disease, knowledge, and independence, there's a positive influence on the patient.